Okay, hi everyone. So today I am going to show you how to make a metal bookmark. This die in particular is the one that I will be demonstrating on. It is a clip style bookmark, and this one just happens to have an alligator on it.
It's so cute.
Isn't it cute? We've offered a bunch of these in the past that have the same sort of dagger style. And so I wanted to give you some little tips and tricks on piercing out the like clip portion and some suggestions as far as metal type and gauge. With the bookmarks, like because you do want them to be fairly thin, you want to make sure that the metal that you use is thick enough and or hard enough. I made this one, I think it was with 20 or 22 gauge copper, and it is way too soft.
It doesn't
Looks
like
pretty.
hold its shape.
It doesn't hold its shape, even though I didn't heat it. I didn't anneal it after soldering. It probably would be okay if you're very careful with it, but I would not like sell it just because it is soft. The forming it, oops, I'm gonna set that down. Because you are forming it, it is giving the piece added strength. You have these complex curves going on, but you still need to start with, I would say no thinner than 18 gauge. That's what I'm going to demonstrate today. I'm going to use sterling because that's inherently also a harder and springier metal than pure copper. You can also use brass. I made one of these, gosh, a long time ago out of, this is probably 20 gauge brass, and it worked really well. So I think if you do copper, you have to go thicker.
If you haven't worked with brass a lot, it has really a very close kind of behavior to sterling.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard and springy like sterling, even maybe a little more so.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little more obstinate than sterling, but they work similarly when they're hard.
Right. So that's the main one that I'm going to show you. I'm still deciding. I may show cutting out the tab portion on this brass piece just because on this die itself, the hub carvers didn't make that line as defined. So you would have to kind of like draw that in yourself. Whereas this one's more defined, and I think it might show a little bit better on camera as I'm demonstrating. So we'll see. I'll kind of make my mind up as I go. So that's the main style that I'm going to show today. Another style that you could do, which is also the clip style, is you could take any pancake die that you want.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
And
Again,
so cute.
that is 20 gauge copper. It is too soft.
So you would recommend 18?
I would recommend 18 or ideally like brass, sterling, even nickel for something like that. Just because you know how when you bend a paper clip back and forth, it eventually breaks. That same thing is going to happen to that small hinge point.
Right there.
Yeah, and the metal is just too soft.
Getting worked.
But it gives you an idea. And I have, depending on how long the video goes, I have a piece of silver cut out and ready to go for that.
Wow.
I know. This is another style of bookmark where you have this sort of almost candy cane shape, like J shape, flattened bar. This was just a strip of.
It's not wanting to focus.
Okay. That's just a strip of probably 16 gauge, maybe 14. It came from the scrap bucket.
Yeah, it looks like 16.
So it was just a straight piece, and then I used a cross peen hammer to hammer along one edge, which stretches that outer edge and causes that metal to curve. And so then you could dangle any design off of the end of the bookmark that you want.
This one is like, you stopped reading, I'm gonna roar at you.
Uh-huh. That's also one of the impression dies in our jungle impression die spotlight this week.
Look at that face.
It's really
Look at
cool.
that tongue.
It's really good. It's deep. It's a little bit more complicated, a little more difficult to press, but I think the payoff is worth it.
Yeah, that is a good.
It's a good line.
Yeah.
And then another style you could do would be just a flattened wire with an impression die soldered onto the top.
What gauge did you use here?
Ooh. It started as round wire and then I rolled it,
okay.
so it was probably, 12 maybe?
Yeah, maybe even 10.
Actually. That's probably closer.
It's really nice.
So really simple. Another style you could do is with like a larger pancake die. You fold over like an end to give it like a little clip.
Does that say something on the back?
Probably. Oh yeah, that's RFJ. That's my radish fight jewelry.
Oh, that's her stamp.
Not a good example. I did a bad job of stamping.
Oh.
But these are both like just a fold over type bookmarks.
So smart. And a great way to use our pattern plates and pancake dies. And people are always asking in the group about ideas for things that aren't necessarily jewelry. If you're selling, jewelry is great, but sometimes it's nice to have products that appeal to
non-jewelry
a wider audience.
Yeah.
And so people are always asking about stuff like this. So if you're someone that like sells, try something new. And maybe try a non-jewelry thing and just see how it goes for you.
Yeah. So that's sort of like a little overview of what we're going to do. Now I'll take you over to the press and we'll show you how to press this little alligator bookmark and some tips and tricks for getting all of the detail. Oh.
Did you want to talk about this?
No, I brought it out as a demo, but I just happened to grab. This is my undergraduate. This is my mentor, 100%.
Yeah.
Marjorie Schick. So I brought it out to demo.
Okay. Oh, I was like, is she going to show us something in here?
No, just to show you how bookmarks work.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
Okay. I had something, but I knocked it off. Okay. We'll come up here. Okay, so I have a piece of annealed 18 gauge. I think I chose 18. Maybe it's 20. I might have chosen 20. Looks like 20. Annealed sterling. I made sure that the blank is bigger than the impression itself. I want to make sure that there's a decent amount of flange around the design when I press it. My main goal, I'm going to focus all of my forming on the alligator portion itself. That's where the detail is. That's the deepest part of the die. And so I want to get my metal down into that alligator first. And then this shallow portion over here is going to be easy to press afterwards.
And the metal can stretch sometimes when you're getting into really deep areas. So if she were to do this first and then come over here, this might stretch the metal out, and then you'd get a weird, like, double ghost kind of impression down here.
Exactly.
So that's why she's starting with that deep area.
And so I'm going to start with a little piece of urethane. Because the metal is being forced, or it's stretched quite a bit down into the die, I'm going to have to anneal this a couple times. But I'm just going to start by placing a small piece of urethane over like the deepest part of the die. We'll press it, take a look, and probably press it a couple more times before annealing.
We say this all the time, but people are surprised every time. Like, your urethane doesn't have to look brand new like this. These chewed up bits that are really well worn work just as well, sometimes even better.
Yeah.
So she's got a well-loved piece of urethane here.
This is our little container of
chewed bubblegum / urethane.
shredded beef.
Do not snap.
Okay, and as always, I'm using the tool steel pusher, and I want to center the place that I'm working on, the spot that is going to have the pressure exerted on it. So where that urethane is, I want that to be centered underneath the tool steel pusher. So not the entire die itself. Sorry, I'm adjusting that spacer. This part of the die is what I want centered.
Where she's pressing.
So you want to make sure that it is centered left to right and front to back.
And she's getting down eye level so she can see that.
Yeah. So shifting like side to side, making sure that it is centered. And then I'm going to press it one time. I'm going to try not to go full pressure because really I'm just starting to get the general shape of this alligator or crocodile. You can tell me.
Yeah, we don't have those here. We don't know. We have lizards almost that big, but not quite. If you don't know what a Gila monster is, look up Gila monster. It's Gila monster. Those are the lizards, well, not the only lizards, but those are some cool lizards we have here in Arizona.
Okay, so that did not do much. I'm going to add a little bit more urethane. Oops. And we're going to press that again just to get a little bit more definition. I found a lizard in my shower with me the other day. It was not a Gila monster though, so
oh my
it
gosh.
was a friend.
That happened to me one time with a gecko, but I stepped into the shower and I stepped on it.
Oh!
And its tail fell off and it was like wriggling around in the shower. It was traumatic. They lose their tails. It's like a defense mechanism.
I got in. I am very blind without my glasses, and so I couldn't see it. I could just see that there was a dark thing in the shower, and so I bend down. And,
that's brave.
Well, I had no choice. I couldn't see what it was, and I was covered in soap. So I get down and I freak out because it could be a tarantula. You know.
It could.
Okay, I'm gonna add even more. I feel like it's pressing some, but I think I can get a little bit more detail.
Big old chunker.
I want to take a big old chunk, but because this is wider widthwise in the design, I'm gonna just cut it apart into a smaller piece. Use your shears if you cut your urethane.
Yeah,
Do not use power tools.
Yeah, you never want to heat urethane up. It emits toxic fumes. So if you're cutting it, don't cut it with anything that's going to cause friction. Use a shear.
Yep. We'll do a little bit more. That'll do. Let's take a peek. Yeah, clearly that worked a lot more. Beautiful. Pop it out. Like you see, I haven't pressed it all on that side. I'm going to take a peek at that. So that's not bad. I'm gonna press one more time on its tail before we anneal it. But that's coming along pretty well. So I'm gonna use that same piece of urethane just a little bit further down.
Sorry if we traumatized you guys with our talk of lizards in the shower.
Moving to Arizona from Wisconsin and the Midwest was...
We have big bugs here.
We have big critters here. Okay, so you can see we're getting more of the detail, but not quite everything. I'm going to go ahead and anneal it, and then I'll come back, and I'm going to press it with aluminum foil to get all of that detail.
My favorite.
Your favorite? I know. You turned me on to it. So when you're annealing silver, it's kind of good to do it in a dark-ish room. You want to heat it until it has a soft pink glow. You don't want it bright cherry red like you do when you're annealing copper or brass. So you just want like a soft little glow.
Sometimes when people are learning, they have a really hard time telling when it's hot enough to be annealed.
Yeah.
And so one thing you can do is you can brush a little bit of paste flux on the surface, and when the flux turns clear and glassy and spreads out, it's hit 1100 degrees, and you know that you've reached above annealing temperature and you're good.
Fantastic tip. Oops.
You don't have to coat the whole thing in flux. You can just put a little
spot.
like in the middle where it's going to heat up the slowest, and just use that as like a visual indication. Look at you ruining your t-shirt.
I know. It is somehow still one of the nicest pieces of clothing I own. Okay.
I've been meaning to get us new Potter Crew shirts for like a year. Haven't done it. Need to do that.
We have suggestions from other people, other staff members.
Oh, okay.
What to do. Okay, so I have annealed my piece again. By creating that first, like, somewhat detailed impression, that allows me to fully register the metal back into the die. I'm going to use a rolled up log of aluminum foil.
This is like kitchen aluminum foil.
And so I'll probably have to add more to this, but I made a little packet that's about the length of that alligator. And so we're going to press that on top of the silver. And that's going to act as a force to really focus that texture or focus that pressure, because it's not going to flow out like urethane does. It's going to basically stay where we put it. And it's going to add extra pressure to that point. All right. I'll take a peek. Look at that. We have a visitor.
You guys want to say hi to Adolfo?
I'm sneaking in.
He needs attention. Give it to him.
He comes over here. He needs a little bit of attention. Okay, so that's the aluminum that I popped off, and then we'll pop out the bookmark itself.
Do you need something?
You just come and hang out?
You just came to chew in my ear.
So much better detail on the body. Still need some on his snout and his tail. But it's all these little steps to try and get a little bit more pressure. So what I'm going to do, you can see on a little aluminum foil force, there's all this extra material. I just like to fold it.
I do that. Sometimes I'll cut it off with like these tin snips and then stack it on top of the area that I need deeper. It depends. It's smart. Easier if you can fold it though. Sometimes it gets so stiff. Yeah.
So we'll do that. Seems fine. We'll try it. If not, we'll anneal it and then we'll press again. Do you have critiques, Adolfo?
No.
Did you come to contribute or just to distract?
Both.
A little bit of both. I would expect nothing less from you.
To contribute to the distraction.
So if you've ordered a press from us, most likely you've communicated with Adolfo over here at some point in the process, getting your press to you.
Maybe not as much recently.
No.
Sonia. Oh, really?
Yeah, because Sonia does it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
if you bought a press in the past.
And like the last 6 months, before 6 months ago.
Okay, we're gonna have to anneal it to get more of that detail. I am going to take those snips and I'm gonna trim some of this excess material.
It'll help too. Bye, Adolfo.
Help get that.
Why don't you try to go work?
Well, I'm going to Ace.
Oh, did you come to
Ace
ask
is
us
the
if we
place.
needed anything? Because you're nice.
Well, I was gonna, but now you're being
I know.
so you get nothing.
We love each other
I
here.
don't think we need anything.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Text me if you do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a little bit of trimming around there just to kind of help that metal flow in there a little bit more. Okay, Anila, it is hard right now. Like, I cannot bend this, so we'll anneal it again.
You should work out more.
I know, I should.
Build up
Maybe
that
then I could
muscle.
tighten the
Oh my
acetylene
gosh. You do. You tighten it so tight. You're like Paul Bunyan, Annie. You don't know your own strength. She turns the acetylene tank off like so tight. It's hard to turn it back on. She just wants to make real sure that no gas is gonna leak.
I really like the idea of no gas leaks.
I can't imagine why. Throw a little shout out here. If any of you are coming during the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show in February, Annie and I are going to be teaching a workshop this year. We're going to be releasing those details really soon, but it's going to be like a hydraulic press earrings workshop. And we're going to show tons of potter tools. It's going to be really fun. So you should come hang out with us during the Gem Show.
Kind of an intro to the press class as well.
Yeah.
Plus, you get to hang out with us. Which, I mean, in person instead of on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take that same force that I made and then...
See how it's been compressed down into the die, and there's not much more material to force down in there.
So I'm going to pile little... Oh, that is actually become powder.
Little nuggies.
Little other, nuggets of aluminum foil. And pile it up in the areas where I need more detail.
You can also use like crumpled up brown paper if you don't want to waste aluminum foil. Foil's pricey these days. And we mail you that brown paper for free.
Right.
Just kidding.
You get some in every package. I'm gonna just rotate this and press it in this direction one more time to get his little snout to work. Pop it out. If you use a chisel, make sure that your hand is not in front of the chisel when you're popping your metal out. You will injure yourself. Dang, it is being troublesome.
Obstinate.
Its tail's looking good though. I'm gonna try some paper. If we have some. Here's a post-it note. Here's a post-it note. Oh, there we go. Packing materials. So I'm just gonna wad up a ball of brown paper. You'll have to do some experimenting to see what works. I know, gosh, it's on our YouTube channel. It was a while back. I did a video showing how to press the death's head moth. And that was basically bringing you along with me as I troubleshooted how to get the best detail, because every die is going to be different.
And that one's pretty deep.
Excuse me. Let's see. Sure looks squished. So we'll see. I think we're good.
Peter Scherf says he presses with pieces of metal that he trims off the stamping.
Absolutely smart.
Nice. Now
So
he's got
that's
teeth.
pretty good. Yep, he's got teeth. And we have the rest of his body. So that's looking pretty good to me. Now, we haven't pressed this, like the clip end really at all. So that's still very annealed. I'm going to just take a piece of urethane and place it where we have not pressed, and we're going to get the detail there. And so a little bit more on the tip, but I think we're probably pretty good there because there's no detail really there to pick up. We are just making sure we get that clip end. I can press a little bit over here.
Nice.
I'll do it one more time. Perfection. It's a flaw. Can't help it. Gotta make it look right.
Look at you and your overachiever self.
I know. So, press it one more time, and if it's not good enough, we're moving on.
People are saying they want t-shirts. We know.
We know.
Maybe someday we'll do it.
We had offered some, it was probably 4+ years ago, through Redbubble. I don't know if anybody bought any.
It didn't do well, that's for
No.
sure. And so it makes Kevin and Danielle hesitant to do t-shirts again.
Because we can't keep all the sizes in stock.
No, we would have to do it as like a pre-order.
Okay.
That looks great.
Alright. Okay, another thing, after you do this, is that on again?
Yeah.
Oh, funny. You want to keep it springy, so you don't really want to anneal it again. Make your bookmark quite springy. It'll help.
And that forming in the hydraulic press makes the metal nice and hard and springy. So if you can leave it that way, that's the best scenario. And cutting with the saw metal that's hard is much easier than cutting annealed metal as well.
Yeah. Less gummy feeling and less sticky. Okay. Sorry, I keep coughing. So you can see on this design in particular, this cutout shape, the hub carver did not make it that defined. You have just sort of this little guideline, which is fine. This is a really good shape because when you're making that clip portion, the tab, it's sort of acting like our pancake dies in a way. The base is acting as the hinge, and so you need to have enough space. You need to create enough space for a page of a book to go in there and have it be snug but not tight. And there's probably a formula for how wide this opening needs to be. I don't know said formula, but I would imagine it would be at least as the cutout being at least as wide as the thickness of the metal. So just kind of a good guideline. I'll just draw on the alligator one, the general shape. Use a Sharpie, you could use a scribe. You could measure. I am not measuring. But I just want to create a tab shape similar to this one. What I'm going to do is I will cut one time around, and then because there is some thickness, I will make a second cut that, I don't know, is maybe 1 millimeter or so, and remove that portion. So that's going to give the piece, the little tab portion, a little bit more space, and that'll allow for the thickness of the paper page to fit. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any questions before we get started?
Don't see any yet.
No questions? Okay. All right. We're going to scoot back over here. So first I'm going to drill a hole. To keep things somewhat symmetrical, I'm going to drill a hole at this like narrow end of the pierced area, and I'm going to drill one on the opposite side. I don't know what size drill that this is. Probably like a 67 or a 65. It really doesn't matter all that much as long as your saw blade will fit through. So a little hard to see, but you can see on that side. Little holes. And then we get to piercing. You do have to use your saw. Sorry, y'all. I love sawing.
I do too. I think it's like meditative.
And it's very clear when you've, been sawing for too long or you're distracted because you'll just you'll break 8 blades when you're trying to saw 1/4 of an inch.
Annie and I have days like that. In case you're thinking it's just you. We still have days like that. Yeah. And sometimes we're just like, okay, today is not a sawing day. And we switch to a different task. Because the carnage of the saw blades is just not worth it. Some days are just not meant for sawing.
I will not be sawing today. So I'm going to just saw this outer outline. You do want to make sure that you're leaving enough of a border so that you're not really structurally weakening that outer, I kept saying border, outer, I guess that makes sense, the outer shape. I'm probably using a 4/0 blade. It might be a 3/0.
Uh-oh, Libby. If you have to mute, we understand. She doesn't like the sound of sawing.
Oh, it'll be over soon.
I wonder if you could get yourself some like really good headphones, noise canceling headphones, so you could just like zone out and, pop in some Mariah Carey or whatever floats your boat while you saw.
My current favorite, which is not a current band at all, is Blues Traveler.
Oh.
To listen to while I work.
How very 1992 of you.
How very telling of my time period. So I'm not going to
Traveler and some Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna turn my saw over so that you can see it a little bit better. So you can see I've cut this outside perimeter. It's relatively straight. We're gonna go with it. So now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm cutting that inside line, and that's gonna create that space that I want.
See how far like choked back, oh, I don't know how to say that, like how far back she is on the bench pin.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
She's using as much of this to support her metal as she can.
Yeah.
She's way choked back up in the V.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right way to use
that sounds
phrase?
right. Yeah.
I don't even know.
So like that right there is as far forward as I could be, and I'm right here. You want to have as much of your metal supported because that's going to reduce the flex, which is a saw blade killer.
And you'll be more accurate if
Yeah.
your metal's more stable.
And try and keep your fingers behind the blade. I often forget that, and that's why I have, some scars. And some
Do you have a jeweler's tattoo?
I do. I don't know if you can see
Let's
it
show
right
them
now.
off. I got one.
I don't have one I can show right now. I think my hands, they're covered.
Oof. Here's mine. See that black line under my skin on my finger? Doesn't want to focus.
My hands
Right there.
or too dirty.
That's my jeweler's tattoo.
Oh, here's one. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's when you saw through your skin and you have like metal filings in the saw blade and they get embedded in your skin and then the cut heals over and the metal's left down in there and tarnishes. That's a jeweler's tattoo.
Yep.
So raise your hand if you've got a jeweler's tattoo.
There's another, just little dot.
Oh yeah, a lot of people have like a little drill hole one in their hand. I don't have
Needle file tip. That's where that one came from.
Ugh. But I'm pretty sure everyone knows it doesn't feel good when that happens.
No. So try and keep your fingers out of the path. And that sometimes means you have to hold the piece awkwardly. But that's why it's good to have, if you have the V in your bench pin, work up as close as you can because you have more support, less flex, etc. Okay.
And you saw Annie do it, but lubrication is your friend.
Yep.
Don't forget to lubricate your blade.
Right now, because this center section is free, you can see it flexing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pressing down so that part is flush with the bench pin, because otherwise it's sort of hovering up in the air because the back of the impression is a little bit hollow. So I'm just trying to reduce some of that flex by using my index finger to press that tight against the work surface. Sorry. It's a little awkward. Also, when I'm sawing, I am not pushing forward really at all with the saw blade. I'm making very long strokes, but I'm not pressing forward. And that's that'll help, keep you from breaking blades, and it just helps to not go fast. I was always taught that to hold your saw frame as loose as you can while still having a little bit of control, and that somebody should be able to come and basically knock it out of your hand, essentially.
Yeah, the more you tense up, the more likely you are to break blades. I mean, these blades are not forgiving and they're not flexible. So anytime they're forced, they're just going to be like, nope.
I'm hardened steel. You bend to me.
Yeah. You bend to my will.
You usually break your blades right as you're getting to the end. Yeah. And you start to get excited.
Say it. Hold your breath.
You start to get excited. I'm so close. And then it usually breaks.
I think Annie and I both use Hercules.
I do.
Saw blades as our preference. I'm not super picky, but I do always buy Hercules if I have a choice.
Yeah. I did try the nano blades, and those were nice too. Previously, I used Rio Gold.
Yeah, I've used Rio Gold. They're fine.
I would get a dozen of a couple different brands, and see what you like best. Just don't buy cheap blades. You can absolutely use a $12 saw frame for your entire career. But if you buy the bulk no-name saw blades, you're going to hate sawing.
Yeah, and honestly, most people who are starting out making jewelry, sawing is one of the harder, more difficult things to learn, and it can be very frustrating because it's one of the first things you have to learn. But it's more challenging than a lot of other things you get to learn later when you've been making jewelry a little longer. Mm-hmm. So if you can just practice and get through the growing pains of sawing,
then you can do almost anything.
Yes.
Okay, so I flipped that over for you. So that's what that opening looks like. Now, you would clean this up. I'm probably not going to go into filing and sanding. You can use, everybody's favorite needle files, sanding discs to get into these areas. One thing that you do want to do is make sure that there are no burrs or like sharp edges. Like I would round this tip over a little bit like this so that you don't accidentally like gouge the paper of your book as you're inserting the bookmark. Basically, you want to smooth all the edges and just finish it up nicely. I forgot to bring my plastic pliers. One thing I do like to do, like once I get everything mostly cleaned up, I like to, I don't know if you can see the side profile, I like to give it just a little bit of like an arch, essentially. A little lift. And that's going to accommodate the page thickness, and then you can tighten it based on, you know, pinching these together as needed. So after I get the insides cleaned up, what I will do usually, how am I going to do this? What is my plan? Okay, this is my plan. I'm going to use my bench pin. First, I don't trim the outside yet. This is giving me more to hold on to, especially this small area here, because that's going to be not the weakest part, but it'll be the thinnest, easiest to bend portion. So I like to keep my blank big until I get mostly finished. So what I'm going to do, I have just the corner on my bench pin, and I'm going to press that tab.
Sorry, guys.
Oh.
Trying to read her mind, but it's not working.
I know. I'm pressing that forward using that corner just because it's available to me.
And it's not going to mar the metal or leave any tool marks.
And you can file, you know, your bench pin into whatever shape you want. So I'm just trying to get that a little bit, or a lot of it, bent up like that. Okay, this is also a good time if you want to refine that shape, soften that sharp point a little bit. But then after that, what I'll do is take like plastic cover pliers, or you could cover your pliers with tape or something like that. So it doesn't look like it did much. I bent it up. What that did is that it hardened this section also a little bit. So when I bend it back down, there's still a little bit of a lift there, and that's going to give a little bit of space for that paper, so that when you insert your bookmark into your book, you have that little bit of lift, and then you can adjust the tension based on how tight you push this, like the center tab down. So that's pretty much it when it comes to making this style of bookmark. You could, if you had, let's say you don't have one of these tab style or clip style bookmark impression dies, you could, you know, take a screenshot here, cut out a shape similar to this, and then create your own just by cutting it out, just by sawing it out. It's a really nice, like, professional looking little bookmark.
Yeah, they're very, very nice shape.
Mm-hmm.
Like nice sexy lines.
Yep. And you can do, this is the same exact technique. Just.
I lost you. I'm too zoomed.
Oh, it's okay. Just using a pancake die and a pattern plate. You could solder on whatever you want. This
is one that's available yet?
Not yet.
Okay,
It's
I
coming.
thought so.
Yeah.
Get a sneak peek.
Yep.
Look at that fat teardrop.
And it got even bigger, even fatter teardrop.
Big old Hershey kiss.
So I have plans for like making earrings out of these, but I haven't gotten to it. But I like the idea of a little bookmark with just a tiny little, you know, accent that would show above the book.
It's cute. Make great gifts too. This is like, I mean, there is a killing to be made on custom things, and this is really like easily customizable. You could put an initial on it.
Absolutely.
Or something like that, and really maximize on that customization.
Yeah.
Someone wanted you to explain this one again, if you don't mind.
Oh, I don't think I have the pancake die here. This pancake die it was designed as like two little mittens.
You want to draw it? No.
No, I will. Just remember, I went to school for jewelry, not
Drawing.
I
know. When you tell people you have an art degree, they always think you can like draw and paint, and you're just like, no. I can smack metal. I can smack metal really well, but I cannot draw.
Nope. Okay, so let's say this is the tab of a pancake die. This design was designed so that there would be like two mittens on the same die. And so then you would cut, in theory, you could cut them
Apart.
But when, I don't even remember, I guess we were making samples for our Christmas spotlight. I was like, oh, all I could do, since they are mirrored, is I cut out the blank. So this is essentially what the blank looked like. And then folded it in half.
Work smarter, not harder, people.
Yeah. Easy.
So
and then
smart.
I did some stamping on the little wristband area of the...
So smart. Very cute. Someone said you could use them for place cards at a wedding.
That would be so cute.
And then it's a wedding favor. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Expensive.
What I was doing...
That's a classy wedding.
like research on just, how other people have made bookmarks. Like a lot of them there'll be a larger design sort of like this, but there's space inside where you could stamp like a date or a name or something in the center here. So that would be kind of cool. This one is basically the same as this, but instead of folding it in half, I just folded the tail of the feather down. Oops.
And then she has, it's dark. Like, see how it's just comes down about an inch? Just a fold over, and then a tiny little lift at the end. It's
So
hard
it
to
doesn't
see.
dig into the paper. So yeah, that was pretty much all I wanted to show today. I'm going to hopefully today work on another bookmark, but using I'm going to probably use one of these tiger heads that are part of our spotlight this week, our jungle spotlight.
This is a new pattern plate that we just released last week.
Yep.
Swirling Waters.
I can't wait to put a patina on it.
It looks really pretty in silver. And I can show you guys a couple stampings for some other dies that are in the spotlight this week. Can you hold that just for 1 second? Someone wants to know what gauge you used on the feather.
Oh, the feather, this was probably 20. So this is a pattern plate that we sell. So I believe I started with 20 gauge, rolled it, and then we do have a matching pancake die. So I rolled the pattern, did not anneal it, cut it out with the pancake die, cleaned up the edges, and bent that over. And that was that.
Okay, so these are both included in the spotlight this week. There's a hibiscus flower and a monstera leaf. Yesterday I did a really, really fast Instagram reel demo showing you how to make a little bobby pin. So if that interests you, go check that out. I used 14 gauge wire that I just flattened, and then you can watch how I did the forming in the video.
This is also, you could use this to make a bookmark. Just don't put the little zigzags in it.
Yeah, and maybe use something a
little
wider.
wider. Yeah.
Here's some other stampings for dies. Oh shoot.
I might have that one.
What's today?
This
is a die of the day on August 28th.
I have no idea if that's today or not.
I don't either. And this one's coming up in a few days. This is a sneak peek, but
That's
I think
cute.
it would be really pretty to punch a couple of these out and then have them fold over like the edges of a bezel to kind of come over as
that'd be
like
pretty.
tabs on a stone. I think would be really pretty. These are included in the spotlight this week.
Those are cool.
And I know somebody is going to make a killer bracelet.
Oh,
You could
Lynette.
have-
Yeah.
It's not going to happen for me, I don't think. I can just see it in my head though, like a stone in the middle and these on the side,
Here,
like
hold that, and I'll
incredible
grab a big
bracelet.
stone.
This is the die. It's a great price for something like this. So that's available through Sunday at midnight. Yeah.
Here's a big round one.
So if you can just envision, now it looks like a snitch. It's a golden snitch bracelet.
Smaller.
Like a big old honkin' turquoise.
I
It would give it
know.
a very southwestern vibe. I just think it would make a gorgeous bracelet. But you could also just use a single one and have like a wraparound ring that would be really pretty, I think.
Or hold on. I need to do one thing at a time. Like the panel bracelet.
Leave it.
Go. Let it go.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that with that feather.
Yeah. You could have this be this part, and then you could have like a stone or another impression be this part. That would be really cool. If you get one die this week, this one is my vote.
Earrings,
Yeah.
I would love them.
I know.
I might have to do
They're
that.
pretty big. You'd have to go thinner on the gauge, I think.
You
I
would
don't
have to
know.
go thinner.
Or they would just be earrings that you wear for a couple of hours and not all day. But we all have those earrings. All right.
So yeah. Any questions? No questions? I
Don't
want to see
see
all your
any.
bookmarks.
Yes.
So
Make sure you're sharing what you're making in our group. It makes us happy and it gives us motivation to keep sharing
Keep going.
demos. Because it feels like people are using what we're showing.
yeah, we want to be helpful. That's our main goal pretty much in everything we do. Is we want to make things easy for you. We want to inspire you. And we want to make sure that you're
Using your tools.
using your tools.
All right.
So, all right, everybody.
Next week, we will not be live. I will be posting a recorded demo next week on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that.
It's going to be really cool.
Oh,
Just
great.
saying.
Thanks.
I'm going to hype you up.
Pressure's on.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.